Hey, how's it going there, folks? Welcome back here to a Monday, start of the work week, July 29th, 2024. It's about 11:50 a.m. here, California time. Latest activity on the globe here, Earthquake 3D Globe shows a 3.1 around the Turkey area. Did see some larger movement over here across the western Pacific earlier this morning. We'll get to that here in just a little bit. Want to cover real quick the space weather activity in terms of the Aurora potential tonight. We're expecting a G3 class storm coming in here. G3, that's pretty strong. Now, if you guys remember back in May, we had a G5 storm. Now, originally back in May, we had a number of CMEs that were sent to the Earth, or in the Earth-directed view, from some large flares from the sun. And they were originally calling for a G3, I think, solar storm during that time period back in May. And it elevated itself to a G5. So these series of events that come to us in a cannibal-type CME, meaning multiple CMEs, can intensify and go beyond what they are forecasting here. So we'll keep an eye on tonight and tomorrow night. Pretty important. We may see some auroras down to some very low latitudes if things play out right. And of course, the BZ component there of the interplanetary magnetic field needs to be pointing south to allow the solar uptick there across the ionosphere to kick up in terms of the auroras. So here is tonight's forecast. You can see KP index up around 7. Now here is the view line. It does look like it's centered over the Oregon area, Central Oregon. Let's go back here, a little bit bigger image. Down into Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, and up through the northeast here. Anywhere north of this line could be overhead auroras. This is just the view line. If you got a clear, open view of the northern horizon, you should be able to see that aurora activity tonight. Tomorrow, a little bit less here showing up. With a KP index of roughly around 5 or so, that view line shifting a little bit further north, but still got a good potential. And this is all subject to exactly how powerful the CME is, and whether it hits us at nighttime here across the North American side. If not, if the brunt of it comes in during daylight, obviously the Europe and Asia area going to get some nice auroras. Russia region going to get some interesting activity over there, should it arrive during the daytime. But as of right now, the main brunt of it, the forecast for KP index of 7 here in the red, is going to be between 12 and 1800 UTC time on the 30th. So, right now the UTC time, current UTC time, is 7:29 at about 1854. So technically, we're talking about late tonight, right? July 30th. Well, no, that's right. This could be forecasted for tomorrow in the afternoon time period because it's 1800 right now. Yeah, so this may potentially be a daytime event here across the North American side, far as the brunt of the CME activity goes there. That doesn't go to say, this is going to be tonight here. KP index of 5, maybe up around a 6 or so. But it does look like the brunt there in the KP index of 7 is going to be tomorrow afternoon time period. So we'll have to watch that. We'll have to see how the arrival of the CME comes in. If it's ahead of schedule or behind schedule. It'd be nice if it was maybe a little behind schedule. That way we could see a little bit more activity late tonight and early tomorrow morning. But either way, here's the forecast. This is what they're calling for. We got a decent chance here. 5, 6 on the KP index. 7 if we're lucky. But I think this is going to be a daytime event for tomorrow. We'll see, though. And, of course, this is all coming off of a series of recent CMEs. Earth-directed, and I'm not 100% certain that this X-flare yesterday produced anything far as the CME goes. It doesn't look like they've updated any chronograph imagery here. So far as flaring goes, let's see what we got here for the flares. A couple M flares overnight. There's the X flare from last night. There's a pretty strong M flare near X flare once again. Decent M flare, and just barely a M flare more recently. It looks like an upper C flare in the last 24 hours. And of course, we do have numerous sunspots that are currently facing the Earth right here, peppered with them, and quite a few of these are very complex in their magnetic structure. And those complex sunspots there can produce the stronger flares, and of course subsequently a CME, coronal mass ejection, which is the culprit of seeing the auroras, right? That plasma being shot off. So we got a whole regional area out here that's capable, any one of these is capable of producing a large M flare, maybe even an X flare as well. Quite a bit of complexity within all of these sunspots right here. This one over here remains about the same with some dynamic complexity as well. After that, though, we're entering into a little bit quieter area aside from the southeastern limb here. So we'll watch this regional sunspot area today, over the next couple days, I should say, for some further flaring, and maybe a couple more CMEs are directed. 20% chance for X flare, M flare at 75, C flare around 99% chance or so. And again, watch for tonight, folks. Those models I showed you are from the Space Weather Prediction Center. These guys here are from the Alaska Geophysical Institute there, University of Alaska in Fairbanks. And for today, they're calling for the auroras up here. Here's a view line for them. A little bit less, a little bit more north in terms of the potential. But for tomorrow, that shows KP index of 7. So there's a little bit of difference here in the arrival time and the forecast levels in terms of how low we're going to be able to see this aurora activity. These guys are forecasting down into northern California and some southern states here. Well, maybe not southern, but down towards the southern plains there, Oklahoma, maybe portions of the panhandle of Texas, over here around Tennessee. That's the view line here in the green. So if I remember right, back in May, these guys were more accurate in terms of forecasting how low we were going to see that aurora event. Last time we've seen a significant uptick in space weather back then. So we'll watch it. I'll kind of keep an eye on it throughout the evening, and I'll jump back in a little bit later on when it arrives. I don't think we got anything coming in right now. Real-time solar wind chart here would give us a good idea of what's happening, but I don't see any elevated CME activity. We'll know about it prior to it just hitting the planet. The BZ component here in the red needs to stay south of this line here, down below this thin dark line. If it goes north here, then it suppresses the auroras. Even if we got a strong CME Earth directed, it will suppress it and not allow that amplification there across the auroras. We need to have this south. Right now, it's bouncing back and forth. If we can keep this open and south here, while that solar wind stream flows in, or that CME, then we could be talking about a decent aurora show tonight and tomorrow. All right, earthquake activity. Here's some of the larger events here this morning. We did have a 6.0 earthquake in the Tonga area. Very shallow earthquake, no tsunami with that. Got to have something above a 7 or so to produce a tsunami out here, depending on the type of fault system it's on as well. But normally these 6-pointers do not produce tsunamis. Prior to that, did see a little 5.7. Shouldn't say little, but pretty decent sized quake there. Deep, 586 kilometers deep there for that quake about an hour prior. Notice that deeper activity triggering some strain up here across the Tonga Trench, some larger movement as well. 6.0, that's not a small earthquake. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this area. A lot of deeper movement recently. It does appear like it's working its way down here across the Kermadec Trench area in the last couple days. Really nothing showing up here across New Zealand for now, but with this continued movement, we'll keep an eye on that area. Solomon Islands area, I still haven't seen anything pop up here. Let's go check out the last 7 days of activity. And this is just absent, very quiet. Got to watch this because this area is capable of producing some large earthquakes. The last 30 days even shows that there hasn't been anything above 4.5 out here. If you go to the all magnitudes here, looks like they had a 4.2, 4.1 around the Solomon Islands, but still, that's awfully quiet. This is still a region to watch pretty closely because of the lack of activity here recently. In terms of larger movement, that is. Over here across Japan, looks like 5.2 earlier this morning, a couple hours ago, 49 kilometers deep here. Taiwan getting in on a little bit of activity as well. Western side of the Filipino plate showing some activity here today. Up into the Alaska region, there's that earthquake from late last night, a 5.2 coming in. Not a whole lot following that activity from last night. In fact, really not seeing anything showing up there across the Aleutian Trench today. Slower movement up here across the Alaska area today, not quite as active. Still seeing some earthquake movement, but really that's common on any day. That earthquake from last night here, we did have a little bit of tremor out here yesterday, mainly across the north central area of the Cascadia and down here across the southern end of the Cascadia, seeing a little bit of tremor. We'll check that later tonight, though, see what's in store or see what plays out today. Earthquakes out here in the Bay Area, the Delta region of Northern California from yesterday. Nothing new to report there today. Across the southern portion of the state, generally small microquake activity out here. In fact, nothing above the 2.5 threshold in Southern California for now. There's that 4.5 out in the Utah area. One little aftershock following that event with a 1.8. Yellowstone, let's go check Yellowstone real quick here. See what we have. Not a whole lot. Goodness. Yellowstone, it can have these hydrothermal explosions and whatnot and geyser activity, but as far as earthquake activity goes, there's nothing really showing up on these graphs at all, and it's been a while since we've seen a really good earthquake swarm here across Yellowstone National Park. Inland from the oil fields of West Texas up into Oklahoma. They're getting hit a little bit today. Nothing big. A couple twos out there. New Madrid seismic zone here in the Arkansas area. 2.3 from yesterday, but really not a whole lot in this area happening today, that is. 2.8, little earthquake up into the Canada area. Of course, was it yesterday or the day before we seen a little earthquake out here in the main area? That was from yesterday, it looks like. A handful of smaller quakes. Common. No big earthquake activity out there for now, though. Let's check out the earthquake 3D globe, see what we have. Middle America Trench, South America area. Middle America Trench, normal. Quite a bit of earthquake activity out there. 3s and 4s and 2s. Nothing big. That's always common. On any given day, you look at the earthquake maps, they're always seeing earthquake activity out there. 4.1 down in the South America area right now. About the same as the Middle America Trench in terms of typical activity. Got the Mediterranean showing some movement out here today, a little bit more active than yesterday. Scattered out and about throughout the Europe area. Hawaii. Let's see here what's going on real quick out here in the Pacific. Got a little bit of movement stretching out towards the Loihi Seamount. A couple smaller earthquakes there. Getting a little trail stretching out this way as well, but I believe these are generally deep quakes down there into the deeper plumbing areas of the magma transport system that feeds the Mauna Loa volcano, and ultimately over here across the Kilauea area as well. Those are some deeper quakes, indicating possibly some further pushing up there of the magma to maybe really kickstart this eruption up here across the Kilauea volcano, where we're at just a standstill right now. Not a whole lot changing, not a whole lot of earthquake activity. Let's go over and check out the Volcano Hazards map from the USGS here. Volcano still at a yellow and advisory. Tilt meter out here today in this area. Ooh, doesn't want to work. It better work. There we go. Fairly level there across this tilt meter. Seismograph station here. Check this out real quick. A little bit of earthquake activity out here. This here looks like fluid movement, magma movement. Guys see that? Well, that's not earthquake activity. That's some type of fluid movement being picked up. Let me check a different seismograph station, see if I can find that same reading. Not so much on this one. Let me check up here across the summit area. Summit area is picking up that magma movement as well. It's possible we could start... well, let me zoom in here a little bit. I'm trying to pinpoint exactly where that highest level of magma movement reading is occurring. And it does look like it's mainly up across this area right here. Not so much down here across the upper east rift zone, but just south here of the crater area. Yeah, picking up that thicker reading as well, indicating fluid movement. So we'll watch it. Obviously, could get a little bit more recharging up here across the summit area. Let's see what we got here for the inflation across the summit. We are going up here a little bit after a few days of deflationary, and that was because of the magma intrusion that took place there across the upper east rift zone from the summit area. Now we've leveled out and starting to come back up a little bit, so it's just one of those things we have to watch and see where it goes from here. Iceland, earthquake activity. I know we had a couple of earthquakes out here across the rift boundaries yesterday. Here's that little, remember I said to keep an eye for some swarms, right? Little swarming activity. It does look like we've seen a little bit of elevated activity here north, even around this area of our previous eruption region. I don't think we're going to see an eruption anytime within the next hour or so, but if this thing really intensifies in terms of hundreds of earthquakes in a short amount of time period, then obviously we're looking at an impending eruption. Right now, just got a little bit of swarming out here just south of the Storstagafell region, and that's roughly within the area that's seen the last couple eruptions out here across Iceland. Let's go check out the latest information here from the Icelandic Met Office, see if they put anything out. And they did. This update was put out today, 7/29. The chances of a magma flow and even an eruption are increasing. Increased microseismic activity was recorded early this morning. Magma accumulation and land rising continues at a steady pace. So we could see another eruption here within the next 2 weeks. Again, watch the earthquake activity. That's the key. A magma run without an eruption can create danger and cause damage in Grindavik. Magma run. I'm guessing they mean a magma intrusion without an eruption, meaning that magma being displaced underneath the Grindavik area. There's still some concern that we could see some activity there. Let me go check out the latest run times there across Grindavik. These are the GPS monitoring stations there across various areas of Iceland. I like to look at the Grindavik area, the 8-hour run time, and we're still up there. We're definitely continuing to go up and up and up in terms of inflation there across the area. So similar to Hawaii, all we can do right now is watch and wait, but watch the earthquake activity. Let's see, what else is there, folks? I'm kind of curious. I may go out tonight and see if I can catch the auroras, pending we get some decent KP index up there. But we'll know. And I will provide an update when the CME hits us and when things start to really kick up tonight. So make sure you guys have your notification bell clicked here on this channel so you can get notified when we go and do an update on this important space weather activity tonight. Far as thunderstorms and whatnot goes across the country, slight risk for some severe weather, including a little bit of tornado potential out here across areas of Indiana, Kentucky. This area out here looks like looks like a little bit of chance of tornado activity in the brown or dark red color. That's not dark red. That's more of a, I don't even know what color, brown. And we got a 2% chance around that as well. So keep your eye on the sky for some twisting water vapor. Also, a pretty decent chance of some wind and some hail threats out there across the northern plains. So heads up. All right, folks, seismograph stations here look like they, I'm going to have to probably reset this because they haven't came back yet in terms of the plate boundary station. So I'll see if I can add these back on here in a little bit. If not, this will disappear off the live stream for a little bit while I do a quick reset on it and hopefully get these stations that I monitor back online. In the meantime, folks, have a good day. We'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later on this evening. Stay safe out there.